What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of What's in the Earbuds. That's exciting. We're in double digits, man.
Yeah.
Pretty rad considering this was just something we were kind of playing around with, and it's kind of taken off, which is really, really cool. It started, like I said, episode 10. We were just talking in the green room. We have a little update on the playlist actually that we share with everybody. We have 5 hours and 28 minutes of music now. I think we have 16 different playlist saves. I don't know how many people contribute to it, and the music is all over the board with genres. So for episode 10, we have Chris Harriman. Me and Chris did a 1-day hiking trip on the Knobstone Trail, and we had a very long day on the trail, and we talked about music a little bit. So if anybody talks music with me, the first thing I do is ask them if you want to be on a random podcast. So I figured I would bring Chris forward to the chat. Chris has some exciting announcements to make. Chris is also the co-host with Carly. Heard a podcast called My First Ultra Pod, which I had the honor of being a guest on back in January, I think, and it was so fantastic. Me and Chris have kept in touch ever since then, and I'm really, really jazzed to have Chris back on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. So let's bring Chris forward.
Ta-da.
Hi. Thanks
My
for
intros
having
keep
me.
getting, thank you. My intros keep getting a little bit better and still awkward every time. But
Good
thank you for
job.
coming, Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love talking music, as you know. We had a great chat about music. Surprised at how much music we love, and it's not the music that a lot of people listen to. So that was pretty cool.
It's crazy. I think I've felt that way about the submissions we've gotten on the EAPN. It's been Joe could agree, that's been a lot of music that we never heard of that just like blew us away. So I'm just excited to hear about your taste in music.
Yeah, I always think that music is a big uniter. You go to a concert and you're just having fun. You're all singing and dancing and you're happy together and it's uniting people. I always feel that way when I go to a good live show. So
yeah, me too. It's like everyone's kind of, it's like even if you're from all walks of life, all kind of under one roof, kind of all sharing one big moment together. I think that's pretty cool. There's like a cool synergy when you're at like a live show. I haven't been to a live show in forever too, by the way, but you got to go to one pretty recently that you shared with me, Chris.
Yeah,
why don't you tell us about that?
So I went Billy Strings. I know that people in the ultra world have to know who, but do you know who he is? Do you know Billy Strings?
No, please tell me.
He is amazing. So this guy, and he is, I guess he falls under the bluegrass genre, but he does all kinds of stuff. He's in his 30s. He is one of the best guitar players. His concerts are pure energy and fun. He sells out everywhere he goes. And so we ended up going to both shows, and he doesn't ever play this. It's a jam band, so they never play the same songs every night, you know, like Fish or Dave Matthews or Dead and Company. You're never going to get the same set both nights. So it was pure fun and upbeat, everybody dancing, having fun. Loved it. Absolutely love it. So I would say check out the song Gilda Lily, Orgasm, Meet at the Creek. I would check out those songs. I mean, he's just amazing.
Ooh, we got to have you add those to the Everyday Athlete podcast playlist.
Yeah. I don't know what people like to run to, but I mean, if you like good music, good musicians, Billy Strings is your guy. I would highly recommend him.
I also just love that he doesn't like do the same set list every single time. Like I feel like that's just such a cool touch to it.
Yeah. You never know what you're going to get, and you can go there and be hoping to hear a certain song, and you may not hear it. But when we saw him on the Saturday, he hit every song that I didn't get to hear Friday. I was so happy. So cool. Yeah. So we've been spending a lot of time out by the solo stove with the speaker listening to Billy Strings.
Meet at the Creek is like on repeat on my running playlist. Like it depends on what I'm doing. There's if I'm like road running, my music is completely different. But if I'm on trail, like a
Yeah.
lot of Billy Strings and like Tyler Childers and Brent Cobb, like I have like a pretty solid like underground bluegrass rotation that I always listen to, especially hiking. If I'm alone hiking, I got to have a little bit of music. But
I never listened to music on the trails ever. I used to listen to things like Alice in Chains or Metallica. I would just put it on so I could hear it. Seemed to motivate me, but now I don't do that. And that really motivated me when I was running.
What's in your earbuds now? Like, is it me podcasts or audiobooks, or is it nothing at all?
Well, I don't know who else is like this, but when I'm in the morning, when I'm driving to work, it's music. Or when I'm doing if I have a stair climber or treadmill workout, it's all music. And I really like upbeat, dancey stuff. There's this song called Living in Color that I am obsessed with. It's got a great beat, happy, fun. But I have a really upbeat playlist, so I kind of roll through that. When I'm coming home, boring, it's jazz. But I like Lithium in the mornings. I'm a '90s grunge girl, so all that '90s rock. I mean, Rage Against the Machine. This morning, I heard
nice.
Candlebox You. I was singing it so loud in my car. And there's the Beastie Boys when they come on. There's certain songs, certain artists that I will just sing like crazy to. So when I'm out running or if I'm running, it's going to be something like that. Yeah, on like afternoon runs and stuff, have to have music in the ears, have to. But on the trails, for some reason, I just like to listen to what's out there.
Yeah, sometimes it is nice to like unplug and just like kind of hear your feet like shuffling through the leaves too. But yeah, especially for lifting, I like to do like a lot of '90s grunge too. Like Alice in Chains is like probably top 5 on my listen to.
So good. Okay, what's your favorite Alice in Chains song?
I always liked Man in the Box for some reason. It's like it's pretty. I know it's kind of like one of their like hits or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've recently been like working through like Lane Staley did a side project called Mad Season.
Yeah.
And it's just that one album.
River of Deceit, right?
River of Deceit. Like, that album is so good. Like I know it's just that I think they just did that one album. It's just so damn good.
It's hard to pinpoint one for me, but Rain When I Die is definitely
that's a good one.
Just good. Like the vocals just blew me away the first time I heard it, and the guitar,
that's so a good one. Mine is Nutshell.
Nutshell.
I love that guitar intro. I love it. I particularly love the Alice in Chains Unplugged.
That's fun. Like one of the best acoustic albums ever. Nutshell's so good. I have to be in the mood for Nutshell though. It's like sometimes it's like all right, like but it's so damn good.
I know some stuff I can't listen to. We talked about this, Joe, you and I can't listen to it like I used to. It just doesn't make me feel good. But I'm going to tell you, I will be listening to the Beastie Boys when I'm 80. I swear. They just make me happy. I mean, and Candlebox, they make me happy. I was obsessed with that band. So when those songs come on, I just love them. And they just take me back to a place that makes me feel really good.
Yeah, isn't it cool how you can have like that? For me, that's Linkin Park, because they were like the first band for me. I was really obsessed with them, still am. And isn't it cool how there's some songs that may be a somber mood or a sad mood, but they make you feel a certain way because they take you back to a different time or a time in your life, or they take you back to a certain feeling.
Yeah, I like that. Music it's so personal and emotional. I love that.
Yeah, I forgot what song that was. We like me and have been quoting this since we started this podcast, but it was music is a window to your soul.
Oh, Cat Empire.
Empire, yeah. Like it's like the greatest line I've ever heard in a song ever.
Okay, what's tell me like some of your favorite quotes from songs, because I have a couple that pop.
Ooh.
Let's see. I've got a Tyler Childers one I always repeat in my head. I'm gonna screw this up, but I think the quote is like, I'm not the toughest hickory that your axe has ever fell, but darling, I can love you well. I'm an oak just the same. I think that's how it goes. But I just
Okay.
like love I love that quote. Yeah.
All right. That's a good one. Do you have
Yeah.
one? Oh,
Oh man, I'll have to circle back to this one. There's so many good ones that are just rumbling around my head right now.
I always say to myself when I'm having a bad day, I quote the Tom Petty song. Some days are diamonds, some days are rocks, some days are golden, some roads are blocked. I just love that. Like some days are, and then he always has this another one I love. I'm a loser at the top of my game. I just think that's so funny. I love that. Yeah, when you can always pull a song out to make you feel better. It's a scientific thing. Music makes you feel better. So it's cool you guys are doing this and putting together playlists.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think it just started because I would ask people like, "Hey, what are you listening to?" And my other podcast, and that would take up like 15 minutes of the podcast. I'm like, this could be its own thing, right? Like this own podcast. And it's been kind of cool how the playlist has blossomed too. Like actually, while we're talking, people are sending me song suggestions, which is pretty rad.
Oh, like what? What are they sending?
Oh, somebody on Threads has been. Oh, we got Waiting or Corvette Summer by Green Day. That was the one that just came in on Thread. We're blowing up on Threads, I guess. And Narcos by Timmy Trumpets and OMG by Candelita. I've never heard of any of those songs, but those are going to be on the list too.
Yeah, it's fun to look them up. We tend to like on Sirius XM, like Traffic Radio or Tedeschi Trucks Band Radio.
Oh yeah.
And they play stuff like Government Mule and the good Chris Stapleton stuff. Chris Stapleton's another good one. I mean, people, I don't know I'm sure a lot of people know he used to be in a bluegrass band called Steel Drivers.
It's so good.
He was phenomenal. I mean, he has just gotten better and better. He's another one that's great to see in concert.
I saw him open. Like I saw him before he was headlining a long time ago. It wasn't a very long show, unfortunately. It was. I think it was right after the Steel. I can't remember who he was with now, though. I felt like it was like Hank Williams Jr. or something. I don't know.
Wow.
That was a while ago, but it was really good though.
He did an opening for Tom Petty on Tom Petty's last tour in 2017 at Wrigley. And and he said that Tom Petty's his favorite band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So that was pretty cool. Yeah,
imagine like opening for your favorite band. I bet that's surreal.
That would
Tom
be
Petty of all people.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
I just remembered a quote that's resonated with me recently. It would be, I don't know if you're familiar with NF. I introduced Joe to NF, and he has been on the obsession of the NF train. Like he's just a really cool rapper, really cool hip hop artist. Has some great songs. I'd recommend Clouds, The Search, Hope are good NF starter songs. But you'll be blown away. He's just got good music, and he's got a song called The Search, which is kind of about like mental health and men's mental health. And he talks about like, I had to look it up because it's something like, he says like every day, when you get up and think you'll never be great, you'll never be great. Not because you're not, but the hate will always find a way to cut you up and murder your faith. And that hit me so hard because I was like, he's basically saying like, if you keep doubting yourself, then you're never going to be great.
I love that.
And
I've got to look this one up. That's powerful.
That's really from Search by NF. Really good song.
NF, right?
Yeah, NF. Just NF, like one word. The two letters, pretty much.
Yeah, I haven't been able to stop listening, especially when I road run. I always listen to The Search like almost every single time.
Yeah, his stuff is great. I like recently I've really liked listening to Motto too. That one, he's kind of like Taylor Swift on the rappers, except on the rapper side. Like I think Tay's got some songs like I'll Do It With a Broken Heart, or I think it's called, where it sounds all cheery and happy, but like you listen to it and you're like, man, like it's just like it's kind of funny, right? Like you have this subsection of songs like that are like, wow, this sounds upbeat and catchy, like pumped up kicks or whatever. But then you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And there's certain songs that you go to, like I go to if I want to feel good or if I need to like pick myself up. There's certain ones I will pull out and they do make you feel better. Like, what would you say? Like, I always wonder what someone would say is their theme song. Do you guys have a theme song for your own personal life?
Oh, dang.
It keeps
that's a hard one.
It keeps changing for me. I would say, gosh, what has it been recently? I would say recently I've really been obsessed with Man Against the World by Survivor.
Oh, nice.
That's
That
an
one,
old one.
yeah. I mean, I was obsessed with Rocky, and the Rocky movies keep growing up, and the entire Rocky 4 album is always on repeat for me.
Okay, that's cool.
And just really like those songs and a lot of 80s music actually. So
okay, that's really cool. I have to check. I don't remember that one. I'll have to check it out.
I think have you heard Somewhere in the Middle by Cody Jinks?
Mm-mm.
There's like, and it like it's an older song, but I think it hits like, I don't want to get like too carried away, but like with the climate lately in the world, it's like kind of nice to have a song that kind of highlights someone who just I'm just kind of in the middle and I don't want to like go too far one way or the other. So it's like kind of like a nice like theme song for people who are just like kind of stuck in the middle, I guess. But
yeah,
it's such a good song with everything that's happening, I guess, not to get on that subject, but
it'd be fun to know like your listeners what they consider their theme song, your loyal listeners, because everybody's got a song that speaks to them.
That's our next assignment, Joe. It's our next homework assignment for them.
That's the one theme song.
I think this isn't my theme song, but I think one of my all-time favorite bad. Can we cuss on your podcast?
Oh, yeah. You can cuss on any of them. Yes.
Badass songs is "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones. I mean, come on. Isn't so that good. The coolest song ever? I mean, love that song. Every time it makes me feel amazing, but it's not, I wouldn't consider that my theme song. Also, another cool thing to check out that I've been listening to a lot lately, I just remember this. So, you know that show that was on Apple TV with Vince Vaughn called Bad Monkey?
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
So they took all the music from that show is people redoing Tom Petty songs.
Ooh.
It like Marcus King, and all these, really different versions of his songs. Check it out, people. It is so cool.
I have to check that out.
Yeah,
did they remix? Did they remix "Running Down a Dream"? Because that's like my favorite Tom Petty song.
Actually, let me look that up here for you. They did, and I tell you, their version of "The Waiting" was so cool. Here, let me see. They did do "Running Down a Dream." I think it was a lady who did it. Hold on.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Let's see.
Man, sometimes like good covers. Like I always go to the I Am Sam soundtrack because I'm not even like a big Beatles fan, but like they like all these like kind of underground artists redid all these Beatles songs on this soundtrack, and it's so good.
I love stuff like that. Okay, so "Running Down the Dream" is by somebody named Larkin Poe. "Here Comes My Girl" is by Weezer.
Nice.
I do love Weezer. I have fond memories of the Beverly Hills song.
And then Jason Isbell's on it. "Fits in the Tantrums."
Ooh.
Who else? Marcus King, who I love. He's amazing. You guys got to check him out. I mean, it's huge. There's so many people, but it's because I think it's because the guy who wrote the book, Carl Hiason, I think that's how you say his name. He is a huge Tom Petty fan, so I think it had to do with him. But yeah, it's really interesting the way they did all those songs. So that's something worth checking out. I've just been putting that on at home and just kind of jamming to it. I'm kind of obsessed with Marcus King. He's so good.
I'll have to check out more of Marcus King. But yeah, I gotta say before I let you continue, Joe, like everything we're doing now just reminds me of how much I love this show. Like this is just the essence of like it's just three friends or three people having a conversation around the table about music. I think and I'll let you speak for it, Joe, but that's what we envision this show as being.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you really get to know someone on a deeper level too, when like you just talk about like theme songs or song like your favorite quote or um, like people that like I just love the playlist, right? Because you get like we have music from like all over the world in that playlist now. It's stuff I've never even heard of, and it's kind of cool to like have to dive into a genre that you know nothing about, and then you find a song that just blows your mind, like that you never otherwise would have ever listened to.
Ooh.
So agree. It, like you just get to know people on like such an intimate level when you talk about like music that moves them.
Yeah, not to sorry for interrupting there, Joe, but I was just gonna add a song that's been on the last couple of weeks, but I don't know if you've heard of a Mongolian metal band called The Who, Christina.
A Mongol, like don't like the throat singing
Yeah,
type.
No,
yeah,
it's in
yeah.
the yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
called
no.
The Who. It's like, but it's HU, and
Oh,
they have
okay,
this song. The best entry song is Wolf Totem. You
okay,
have to listen to that song. It
okay.
is phenomenal. Like they play like all these classical like Mongolian instruments, but it's like and they're like trained from the Mongolian like classical institute and everything, but it's like got this like metal kick to it and oh my god. I
It's
think
so good.
that's my
Now,
comeback song.
how
That's
did you hear about that? How did you find this band through this podcast?
through this will be a good segue into talking about your podcast, but actually through ultra running. I was at Moab 240 last month and DNF the race and I was hanging around and volunteering and they they're always playing speakers and everything at headquarters or aid stations and whatever. And they start at 6 a.m. in the morning with Mongolian throat singing. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I heard about that. And I'm like, tell me more. And then they started playing Wolf Totem for me. And we're like, Joe knows the mark I'm talking about, but wait for it, wait for it. And then when it kicks,
Yeah,
I was like
it's so rad. It's
So
yard
the
work approved.
so the first time you heard it, you loved it. It didn't even have to grow on you because sometimes stuff has.
no,
Oh,
in fact, it just keeps growing on me. And then there's
oh,
like
okay,
a Papa Roach remix too of Wolf Totem,
okay.
where and what's his name, like Jacob Shaddix or whatever.
I'll have to
Uh,
check this out.
oh,
It's
Jacob E. Shaddix. And Papa Roach got in on it, and there's like a remix where the Who's actually involved in it too. But it is,
Really?
yeah,
So with the current, like the Who, this is a current song. So the Who did this recently.
It's like a 2021 song, but
Okay.
like the Who has
Oh,
kind of like started to blow up recently, and they're actually starting to tour like solo now. And they've
okay.
been like the head, like the first band for like a lot of like big artists or whatever, like touring around the U.S. And they're just starting to like go viral recently.
I'll have to check this out. Wow. I would, you know, it's funny when you go to races, you do hear the, it's very diverse, the music you hear. It's like, do they try to find the most unusual stuff they can? Because
Oh my
sometimes,
god. And the swings of music, right? Like you can imagine if we put on if Joe and I ran an aid station and we put on the EAPN playlist, it would just and put it on
oh yeah,
shuffle, it would be like all over the place.
some people like that though. You know,
oh
I
man,
notice it when at the CrossFit gym I go to in the mornings, it's always like this hard rappy music. And I used to bug me. Now I kind of like it. It makes me want to just really lift heavy and,
yeah.
you know, get into it. So it grows on you.
I'll have to tag you. I'll have to listen to Billy Strings and tag you in my reaction. And you have to tag us in your reaction to the
Yeah,
Who because I really want to see it.
Okay.
you will not
Yeah. And
regret Billy Strings. It's so
I
if you
have to check it out.
his whole catalog is awesome.
if you appreciate music and like good music, like people playing, and he writes everything, then you will love it. I mean, you have to appreciate it, even if it's not your style, you know. And you know, this guy's like 34 years old. Can you imagine what he's going to be, Joe, when he's like 50?
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be
yeah
amazing.
he's already like a master of the craft. So give him another, you know, lifetime of music. He's gonna be really really on
Yeah.
fire like he already is. But
That is a whole nother conversation you can have too about like an artist who's been around for decades and watching them as they go through life, like how it affects like their craft and how they mature in their music. Like I think you see it with like all the bands that have been around forever, like with Linkin Park when they were angry teenagers, or like Slipknot, or like
Yeah.
those bands, and then like seeing their lyrics just mature over time, you know?
Yeah, and how
Yeah.
they meet themselves where they are instead of trying to be what they were. Like I recently saw Pearl Jam, and Eddie Vedder used to hang from the rafters and run around like a fool, and now it's more, he's just classier on stage. Same songs, and some of the arrangements are different, but it's just like, okay, he's mature. He's not trying to be what he was. I love that. And I saw The Who a couple years ago. Same thing. They did some of their songs, acoustically on bar stools on stage. It was
Cool.
cool. It's like, okay, we get it. You're in your 70s. Okay, we know you can't hit all those notes. Stevie Nicks the same way. She can't hit all those notes. It's okay. Let your backup singers do it. I
I
love
love
it when they evolve, especially as I get older. I really wish the one Beastie Boy, I can't think of his name, wouldn't have passed away so that we could experience because they were smart and fun and creative, and I would have liked to have seen what they could do now.
Oh my God, yeah. It's a big what if.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But music, it's just cool. It's just fun. Music is just fun.
Before we wrap up the show, we wanted to give you the floor to make some announcements about My First Ultra, which is a great podcast. It's Joe had you on Beyond the Finish Line, but before that, you had him on your podcast. Both were great episodes, and I love both of them, and just love your pod. And
Thanks.
would love to give the floor to you to announce some of the big things coming up.
Yeah, so actually tomorrow, Carly and I are releasing our last podcast on the platform that we're on, and we are working on changing things around. We're still going to be a part of Becoming Ultra ourselves, that team, but our podcast is no longer going to be a part of Becoming Ultra. Scott is doing some rebranding, and he's going to work on his content. It would kind of be conflicting. So we're going to go off and do our own. We've kind of evolved from the My First Ultra. So we're going to have a new name, a new format. We've already recorded the first episode with Dion Leonard, the guy, the ultra runner who wrote Finding Gobi.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So we recorded that with him. It's amazing. So it's just going to be all new. So we're taking a couple of weeks off to get it all finalized and worked out. We will reemerge after the first of the year. We'll let everybody know where to find us and our new socials and all that. So we're really excited. We've been working with someone who is helping us with our vision and really narrowing down our own goals and vision and what's important, asking us some deep questions. So yeah, it's been fun. I love doing the pod with Carly. I love the people we meet. It's kind of given me a new excitement for it again. I never got unexcited, but it's really, now that it's just going to be completely under our control, it's very exciting. So
yeah, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just control your own destiny, and it can bring you as much joy and fulfillment as you want it to bring you, and just see where it goes. You guys know how it is. You just want to, you have your reasons why you do it, and you just want to see what happens. I wouldn't trade, and I'm sure you feel the same way, the connections that we have made and how it's impacted our lives on a daily basis. I would not trade that for anything. We talk about that on our pod, about how it's impacted us. That you cannot measure that feeling and that fulfillment. There's hardly a day that goes by where I don't think of somebody that was on my podcast and how they've inspired me.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I'm still only 16 episodes in, but I bet it's close. I still have conversations with some of the guests I've had, and it's just so cool. Like I couldn't have picked a better community to choose.
Oh, I know.
To talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe, we've recorded 150 episodes.
Oh,
wow. So it will continue to grow, and it just grows, and it just becomes such a happy part of your life. If it already is that way, just let that keep going.
That's
So,
true. That is so true. It puts into perspective the fact that our first fireside chat was a throwaway live 2.5 years ago. We are 139 episodes in. There's a podcast network now, and we have great, amazing hosts like Joe. We're having conversations with great guests like you, and it's just, oh, it just blows me away. All the amazing connections we've made. Uh,
mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's been so great, and you know, um, thank you so much for being on our show. And we'll have to have. I think we've said this to a few other guests, but like it's just hard. There's so much conversation you can have about music. We'll have to have you back on this show at some point.
When
Oh
I
yeah,
have some,
absolutely.
okay, after I go to another really cool concert, I'll come back and tell you
Yeah.
guys. We'll do a
Yes.
concert recap. But yeah, thank you for having me on. It's really fun. So
Yeah,
nice.
this is so much fun. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Yeah.
Like we talked about music when we were hiking. I was like, all right, like we're gonna have to have a chat about all this further.
Love,
So
Definitely.
love to talk about music. Well, thanks, guys. Keep doing what
yeah,
you're
thank
doing.
you
It's
so much.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Happy.
Before we wrap things up, I just want to let everybody know that we have a fireside chat tomorrow evening, same time as usual, with Cuss Running,
Allie.
which is exactly what you think it is, with Allie Gregory. That's going to be a great show. And then we've got another Beyond the Finish Line, episode 17. You've got a heavy hitter on your show on
Oh
Friday
yeah.
morning, Joe, with Josh Rosenthal from
Yeah.
Borderlands.
Yep.
Nice.
Josh from Borderlands. He also has a documentary series called DFL Before DNF, and it was very inspirational to me on my ultra running journey. And I cannot wait to talk with Josh and have. Like, he's just such a juggernaut in trail running. I can't wait to like pick his brain and hear his story.
It's going to be a great conversation between two great people, and I'm excited to listen to it myself. And for those of you who didn't catch the podcast drop, we had our first episode of Enduring Minds drop last Saturday. It's our men's mental health podcast with me, Jason, and Evan Birch as co-hosts. We're doing that monthly, so be sure to check that out, and check out all the other amazing shows we got for you on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. Chris, thank you so much for being on our show, and we can't
Thanks.
wait to have you back after the next awesome concert.
Well, thanks. You guys are doing good stuff. I love that you're doing the men's mental health. People focus a lot on women's mental health, and men need that too. So that is awesome. Good for you. Good for you guys. Love
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thank you, Chris.